Members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Now my mindset change mode has come in that I will not be introducing many people. Allow me to introduce to you the board chair, who is the outgoing board chair, Mr. Amos Nyambo, to make a few remarks, and thereafter he will also invite the president of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply to the podium so they can all make their remarks. Thank you very much. Board chair.
Thank you so much. The guest of honor, Honorable Minister, Director General of the PBGA, the President of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, board members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is oftentimes a challenge when you're speaking before a multitude like this, and where the MC or the director of ceremonies is a moderator, they tend to speak what we want to speak. Then I was left to say, what am I going to say when I get on the podium? But as it was introduced, my duty this morning is to introduce the MIPS president to make her remarks. But allow me to make a few remarks before I introduce her. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always an honor and a great privilege to gather like this, especially as procurement professionals, where you can get away from the issues of being pushed for delayed procurements. From reading reports whereby the number one challenge on each and every report will come procurement delays. It is a profession that is oftentimes not given the chance. It is a profession that is oftentimes blamed. Madam Guest of Honor, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, procurement professionals, they face this battle always in their offices. But what I've learned to tell myself as a practitioner, the more people complain, the more reports come out of delayed procurements. Because if you look at the delays that oftentimes members complain, they are not delays that you actually cause as a procurement professional, but they're delays in them submitting maybe their request. They will come today, we want something and we want it tomorrow. Where are you going to get all the time for you to process and follow the processes? Madam Guest of Honor, procurement professionals are very important in the development of our nation. As it was already mentioned here, we are the ones that are responsible for the expenditure of the budget that was presented. For those of us that are coming from the NGO, we account for over 70% of the expenditures that are undertaken in our organizations. This speaks volumes of how important we are as procurement professionals. Madam Guest of Honor, but the challenge is we are not appreciated as we ought to be. Oftentimes you see that the procurement professionals, they are not making it to the boardroom. Not that they don't have the capacity, but the way our institutions are structured hinders the growth of the professionals. They are always given the responsibility of spending billions and billions of kwachas. But you see the person that is handling that is only on the position of an officer and not even a director. But yet, they are responsible for billions of kwachas. It is high time that our institutions are structured in a way that they recognize the professionals. Madam Guest of Honor, allow me also to speak of some of the successes that we have achieved as Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply. Unlike many organizations that are still struggling to come up with the act, Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply has the act that protects us. And we have the act that needs to be used. Unfortunately, due to our resources and some challenges, and even challenges in terms of mindset change, other people's or other organizations are still neglecting the use of the law. People are still employing or organizations are still employing people that are not procurement professionals. Members that are not, or people that are not even members of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply. As it is provided by the law, everyone else has to abide by it. And as the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply, we are going into an overdrive, and we need your support, Honorable Minister, and even all members even of the judiciary, to help us in this drive. Allow me also to recognize the stride that we've made in terms of securing the support of other players. These have become our partners. We talk of the European Union, we talk of the African Development Bank. They have supported our projects. This is just to name but a few. Their support of our projects speaks of the trust that they have in us. Their support of the projects speaks of the trust that they have that MIPS has a role in the development of the nation. While we celebrate these achievements, it is also important that these are maintained. And this message now goes to the procurement professionals. Our conduct, the way we do business, should also continue to give trust to the donors so that these partnerships that we have developed are sustained. Madam Kestobona, ladies and gentlemen, last night was an election night. It is something that has been mentioned by the Director of Ceremonies a number of times. Last night, we elected the president, the first female president. It shows what professionals are like. Procurement professionals believe in diversity. We believe in diversity. And this is why we see that in as much as this room is dominated by men, but we chose a woman to be the president. This is something that speaks of what we are. Last night, we also nominated members, board members, that are going to be appointed by the minister responsible. And I'm sure those members that have been elected, or those that have assumed power, even the president, have been receiving congratulatory messages. Last night, it reminded me of what happened 3 years ago. When I was nominated as a board member, then appointed, and later on, elected as the chairperson of the board, I received a number of messages from friends, families, congratulating me. But one message that stuck to me was a message that was coming from the professionals. They asked me, go and change things. That time, I was clever. I wanted change. But this time, 3 years after, I am wiser. I need to change myself. Oftentimes, there are times that we allude, the change should come from the leadership. Leadership can initiate change, but it is us who has the change. There is an expectation from the leadership that has come in place. Surely, nothing is going to happen if we don't change. If we connect this theme of this year's conference, it is you who is going to help the SMEs. The Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply will not come to you, because it is going to be you in your office making a decision when you're sending that request for quotation, when you're drawing those TORs, when you're drawing those specifications. You should always have this MSME in your mind. How are you enabling that person? How are you enabling that fuel that we call a micro today? If you go to the Daily Times today, I've written an article, it's published, it's appearing in the Daily Times today, on my opinion. My opinion of the micro, medium, and small enterprises. They are only micro, they are only small, they are only medium in the name. But surely what they contribute is a lot. They could contribute a lot to the development of our economy. And we as the professionals, we have a role to empower them so that our economy can develop. And the change cannot come from the leadership, it comes from you. As the new leadership has been ushered in, it always reminds me of Usain Bolt, the greatest athlete of all time. Individually, he has won a number of accolades, but he has also won a number of trophies or medals as a player in the Jamaican athletic team. If you took him to a relay race, he would always pass on the baton to the next person. Usain Bolt is the fastest, but the next person may not be the fastest as Usain Bolt, but together they won the race as Jamaica. This is the message that I'm also having to the team here, again with the leadership of MIPS. Together, we can achieve more. Today, I'm announcing that this is my last message as the board chairperson of the Malawi Institute of Procurement and Supply. We are ushering in new leadership. We have hope in the new leadership. We have high expectations. And we know that we have run a race. What message do I give to the new leadership? Is that if you saw that we're running too slow, it's no time to waste, that you should look at how slow we were, but hit the road running and run faster, so that together we can complete the race. If you see that we were too fast, maintain the momentum, so that we can win the race together. As the new leadership is coming in, it also reminds me of when Steve Jobs, the then CEO of Apple, was dying. In 2011, he passed on. He died in October. In August, there was a new member coming, and this is Tim Cook. Tim Cook, in his background working with Apple, in his background working with Compaq, in his background working with IBM, he was just an operational guy. And his job was more into the distribution, the supply chain, storage management. People were worried. They said, how is Apple going to be sustained with the dying of Steve Jobs? Everyone else counted Apple out. When Steve Jobs was dying, they had only launched an iPhone 5. But now we're talking of iPhone 12. The man that came in, Tim Cook, is a supply chain professional. Someone who did engineering, but his job was more of a supply chain. People were wondering, we are losing Steve Jobs. Now is coming this person who is in a totally different field. What am I trying to drive home at? Perhaps Apple needed a new dimension. It needed a new set of thinking. This is what I also believe, that as a board chairperson, as the outgoing board, perhaps MIPS needs a new way of thinking. And we should pave way so that we can create more leaders. I had the opportunity to stand in for another term, but I thought other people should come in, that another set of leaders can also be developed. And that's where our strength lies. If we develop a number of leaders, then our strengths at the institute will be stronger and will be going stronger. As I conclude, I would want to thank everyone for your time and listening. And as I'm passing the baton, I have the confidence in the leadership that is going to come. I see a lot of passion. I see a lot of creativity. I see a lot of enthusiasm. And I'm sure together we can achieve more. I thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Chair.